let me take a second to I want to make sure I'm clear on, I mean, I've been coaching now football for 25 plus years, whatever it may be, somewhere in that neighborhood. And over the years, uh, I've worked under some great coaches and some great programs. And over those years, you develop a philosophy, of how you're going to go about if you ever become a head coach. Now I've been a head coach for over 10 years, and along the way, that philosophy, for me has been one of accountability, discipline, hard work, and you go back and people, you can criticize me for whatever you want to criticize me for, but when you look at my football teams, they've been disciplined. They have been very, very few, if any, off the field problems, and our kids do well, extremely well academically, always have, and that's a long-lived track record. But at the end of the day, I've always said this is my job and our job as a university but our program, our athletic department is to prepare kids for life after football. Because we all know, I mean, I coached in the NFL, I coached in college, I've coached hundreds of great players. But it comes down to life's going to, football's going to end someday. And you got to prepare them for life when it's over. Well, in Malik's case, Ma'lik was a kid who was on campus, was in school. And, a number of people reached out to me from coaches and guardians and people from the juvenile center down in Steubenville and said, would you meet with this kid and find, he's in school. I didn't even know who Ma'lik Richmond was at the time. Would you sit down and talk to him and figure out, he's in school. And I was, so would you talk to him about being on your football team? And after becoming acquainted with who he was, I sat down with him. I sat down with his guardians. I listened to his story, found out, that as a 16-year-old, he had an issue, a serious issue, one which, to his, there's really no defense for. What happened. But I listened to his story. I got to know the young man, talked to obviously to him, his guardians, listened to it, and saw how remorseful he was, and came in and really came to know that here was a young man sitting in front of me that I think 4 or 5 years prior had, along the way had served a 10-month sentence, done his time, and was looking to move on with his life. And he had moved on with his life as far as getting into school. He was doing well academically, but at that time it wasn't the right time for him to join our football team. I told him that. We talked about that, and I laid out a pretty detailed plan as to what was going to be required for him to come be a part of our football program. And that wasn't going to happen immediately. It was going to happen over time. And it was about a 4, 5, 6 point plan of you follow X, Y, and Z, and we'll see how it goes. There are no promises, but you're going to have to earn your way. And he did that pretty much every step of the way. And so here we are. And it wasn't something. Here I'm a father. I'm a father, obviously, to my kids. I have a son and 2 daughters. Obviously, my wife. I understand the what do you call it? This is an emotional issue on both sides of things, and it can be very emotional. And I understand that. But when I looked at him, I didn't take this decision lightly at all. It's one where I saw an opportunity to help a young man, and who was looking to move on with his life. And I think he'd earned that over not only what he did with us, but what he'd endured over the last 4 or 5 years, and at some point felt like it was a time that he should be given the chance without any guarantees. It wasn't like I ever said, you're going to start or you're going to do this. There were never any promises one way or the other. And said, if you want to come be a part of the football program, this is how it's going to be. And I thought it would be beneficial to him and our university that he be part of a culture in our program that's based on accountability, discipline, hard work, and not only beneficial for him being as a member of our community, but obviously him as a young man. And he's lived up to it every step of the way. And now for him, for us, for our program, for all the talking that's been going on about it, I obviously wasn't involved with any, don't really know much about what happened as far as any litigation that happened, but I'm glad it's behind us. I'm glad it's behind him, and I think we could all move forward. And I think he's, I would say he's going to represent our football program in this university the right way, in the right manner.